Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Jack's Business Talk. Today we have a very special returning guest, Mikey.
Thanks, Jack, for having me on. Looking forward to this.
So we're going to do something slightly different, and we're going to do a part one, a part two, and a part three video. Part one is going to be the pros of investing in Pittsburgh. Part two would be the cons of investing in Pittsburgh, and part three is going to be the things you should know about before investing in Pittsburgh. So let's go ahead and start with the pros. We're going to do ping pong. So, Mikey, who do you want to go first?
Oh,
I got
let's.
a coin here. I got a coin too if you want me to flip a coin.
Oh man, no. I'll let you take the reins.
Okay. So, the first pro is that Pittsburgh has a thriving economy with several different economic drivers. We have the healthcare industry, we have the steel industry, we have the aluminum, titanium, we have tons of machine shops. I couldn't hit a golf ball. I can barely hit a golf ball, but I guarantee you I can hit a machine shop with a golf ball. There's plastics all over the place. There's trucking industries. There's freight. We have there. We are one of the up and coming technology drivers of the country right now. We have companies like Google, Uber, like the Uber site for the whole East Coast. There's three more I'm missing. I should have had them written down, but
I know
I
Duolingo and the robotics.
the robotics was one of the ones I was going to miss or mention. I didn't know about Duolingo. So that's my first point.
I will go with insurance. Just from what I'm
Okay.
seeing in other markets, you're hearing insurance for some markets are having a harder time. But when you look at Pittsburgh and the quotes I've been seeing for single families, you're looking in the range of maybe 500 to 600. When you're looking at small multifamily, that's around the 1,000 range, maybe 1,200. But I think it's pretty reasonable when you're comparing it to other markets, and that also factors into your cash on cash return.
Yeah, and this is why I like doing this topic with you because like you being an out-of-state investor, you have different eyes than what I have. So like that insurance wouldn't even have been on my radar.
And there's always ways to massage for insurances. Like, are you going max deductible? Can other insurances that you're shopping, can they go to a higher max deductible? Because I've seen changes in that where some are limited to maybe 3,000 max deductible, some go up to, I've seen 22,000 max deductible on small multifamily. So there's all
Hmm.
these changes you can make and adjustments to get the number that are more closer to what you're expecting. And I like that about Pittsburgh.
So that was yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that.
That's why we're we're a good tag team on this video section.
So my second one is affordable real estate. So as a lot of people who are watching my channel probably already realize, is the city compared to other cities, although has appreciated greatly throughout COVID, is still one of the lower points of entry for real estate investors in the country. And I'm lucky enough to have grown up in this area, and I can even get it a little bit lower than what they report on the national averages, which is great. Um, but with that, the price to rent ratios are really stellar in this area compared to what you would get. Like there's a lot of deals, I know that the big three say the 1% rule is dead. There's a lot of real estate deals that come close to the 1% rule without shoving you in the middle of the ghetto. So I personally don't use the 1% rule, and that's why I never talk about the 1% rule. But it is something you could potentially use as just a real fast being like, do I even want to take the next step to look at? Obviously, do your own due diligence. Don't just rely on the 1% rule.
That's great. I am more creative minded, so I like the opportunities and the availability of choices. You have the different sections because we're all investing in different areas. There's Beaver, there's Allegheny, and then you're in Freeport. So,
Yeah, Butler, Armstrong, which I might be making a switch to parts of Beaver too.
okay, yeah. So you have all that different selection. Small multifamily, single homes do work depending on how you want to see your end results for investing. But I just like that opportunity where you have the single families you want to get into. If it's more turnkey, you have the smaller multifamilies where you're seeing it may take a little bit more cosmetic work to get it up and stabilized. But there's that option, so you can put more sweat equity if you want. And
That's usually what I end up doing, just because, and we'll get more into this in the next video, but Pittsburgh is not one of those areas that is super appreciating. Like, it's a very stable market. It's usually not like in the great financial crisis and all that kind of stuff. It's usually not impacted as heavily as other cities, but it's not a leading boom town. And I'll get more into that next video in the cons side.
but you mentioning stability, that was a big factor for me. Because as a buy and hold long-term investor, 30-year fixed rate debt, Pittsburgh actually lines up really well for stability. And it just
Mhm.
chugs along, does its thing. It's like a train just going on its way. I love that stability of it, even though maybe you won't see as appreciation as much. The stability, especially for a long-term buy and hold investor, I that drew me in a lot.
I'd like to add one more thing, and I don't want to give away too much for the next video, but I've mentioned to someone, I can't remember who it is. Maybe someone in the comment section down below can be like, "It's me, it's me, it's me." But I mentioned to someone that I feel like Buffalo, New York, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland, Ohio are kind of like the entryway into the Midwest. Like, you start to see a combination of both East and Midwest in those cities. And I don't know what they are for the South. I don't live in the South, but like as far as the northern side goes, it kind of starts there. And then like the further into Ohio, the more Midwest it acts until like you're in, what's the next state over? Indiana, where it is Midwest.
And that's what I love because the more I'm learning, even though I'm an out-of-state investor and I am planning to go in September to see all you guys and meet up, we'll have a good time. But I'm just learning. Every area is different, and I'm learning about the different sections, but actually being there, boots on the ground, I can't imagine the experiences you've built. So even though I'm not able to make it there yet, when I do go, I'll probably be hit with just a tornado of information that I look forward to driving around with Jack and maybe we'll do a live stream together.
I'm thinking we should do a episode. It depends on how many people come. I don't know who's all going to want to come and who's all not going to come. But I was thinking we should do an episode driving with Jack together.
Yes, yes.
Maybe drive around some areas, look at your houses and stuff.
Mhm. And I got to pick up some mics so that we have dual mics while we're doing the recording. So I know audio is most important for YouTube.
Yeah, I want to get a new microphone. There's another one I'm looking at, and it better work because it's like, I think on sale it was like $260, which is way more than any microphone I've ever bought without going outside of my outside of what I used to do for running soundboards and stuff for bands and stuff. Like, popping $250 for that was nothing, but like for a little YouTube channel, I've never spent $250 on a microphone. I've 60 here, 80 here, maybe 120. Honestly, so far the winner is a $15 microphone. I'm still not all that happy with it. So I'm gonna cough out the big money, and we're gonna get a $250 microphone.
And if anyone hasn't watched that video you did with Uneducated Economists, you got to watch that because I love seeing you in your car. You got the acoustics, you got the good sound quality. Nothing can beat that.
You know what? And the only difference is in that video, and this is why I'm gonna start shooting more videos in the other vehicle that I have, it was just a vehicle. This one I'm in now, it's too empty in the back. I think my voice resonates off the windshield and echoes a little bit, and there's more holes in the back that does I shouldn't say holes, but there's sound dampening gaps, okay, because I took the back seat out and they use the seat as a sound dampener, and I think that helps resonate my voice and gives it more of a tinny sound. And that's why I think I need to start doing more videos in that one because it turned out great. The sound quality was the best, and I'm using the first one when that people were complaining about, and it turned out the best in that video.
I agree with that because even now, your audio sounds great too.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Like I said, I'm in the vehicle. I'm using an earbud right now, so it's not perfect, but it's okay. So we kind of touched on this one before, the strong rental markets.
Buy box areas.
Yeah, the buy box area. So my number three is the strong rental markets because of the fact that you're not, if you shop correctly, okay, you should be able, like Pittsburgh is one of the few areas that you can get, and you touched upon this already a little bit, single family homes actually cash flow. And that says something because like most areas just like single family homes don't cash flow. Single family homes don't cash flow because they don't unless you're in a special area. And this is a very special area. And the big guys always say, the multifamilies are great. If you have an eviction, you're still making money. However, and Zuber says this a couple times, if you have a single family home, more than likely you're going to have them for about 8 years because they don't want to move. They've gotten used to it. They have, they filled up the garage full of their stuff. They don't feel like moving everything. Whereas in a multi-unit, there's more factors, noise, complaints. I don't like this person, blah, blah, blah. And they're forced to kind of keep things smaller anyway. So it's not as big of a deal for them. That's why you typically have turnover every 3 years or so. So something to think about too.
Yes, and when you have the buy box and you layer that on top with the rent box, then
Hmm.
you learn the areas that fit what you're trying to do. And
Yeah.
that's why I love when the guys say it's your own journey because, hey, maybe I'm doing it differently than you're doing it, or the areas you're looking at is different from what I'm looking at. I started in single family because I just wanted to get my feet wet and have that experience. But now I'm more looking to small multifamily because you have taught me, hey, you might want to just look at these properties and understand, get a better understanding, and why not try to diversify in the same market a little.
Yeah. And I can honestly say the same thing with you because like I kind of wasn't really thinking about single family homes, and now and I kind of like it, like, as I mentioned before, my secret buy box. I wasn't really looking at it, and it wasn't until I started really talking with you that I actually pulled back the secret buy box. I was like, there's actually places that actually work.
Yeah, that interview you did with Zuber, that was illuminating because I learned a lot. Where in your area you could find those single families, more turnkey, and is plug and play. That was a good buy box, and that's something you developed while talking with Zuber, and I learned from that.
Yeah, that's honestly me. I'm gonna try and find more turnkey stuff, and it's not so much that like not to contradict myself from earlier, but I am going to contradict myself a little bit here. But the thing is, I can move faster, get more rentals that need a lot less work, and then optimize them at a later date to get more cash flow out of them than I can trying to work on all these projects that take a year to stabilize the project or 2 years. Like I like we like I you guys know I bought that double duplex or fourplex, whatever you want to call it, whatever paper the paper from whatever department says. Because I've seen the county several times contradicting themselves on is it a fourplex or two duplexes on the same plot of land. But anyway, we'll call it the double duplex. Anyway, they it's probably gonna take me till next year to get it stabilized. I bought it like I just had an anniversary with it, and I still have to do the roof, the wiring, finish up that last unit, and then I got to think about what my next step is to get it fully done. But like even my first property from 5 years ago, I still got projects that are going on that still need to be done, and it's not adding any value or anything to it. So being that I've done now four value add project rentals, I think I'm going to switch gears. I'm going to go with a more turnkey where it's just paint, floor, done. No roofs, no major overhauls, no other stuff, because I can get the financial independence quicker by not sticking an extra 20, 30K into a place. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to not do value add either, because like on the flip side, my first two properties, and I don't know about the double duplex yet. I can only speak for half of it so far. But the first two, after I did the value adds on them, so the values have gone up at least 40K, 40 to 50K on both of them. So that's a ton of equity. And I'm planning on, when I switch careers, actually I should say shifting gears, I'm going to greatly increase my income. And honestly, I'm going to pay off, because like both of them are right in the 40s on the mortgage that are left. And you might be wondering, well, why are you going to pay off a property, Jack? Everyone says don't pay off a property, Jack, because this is why. Because for 40K, I can only buy one duplex. I pay off the 40K and I pull up 50% loan to value on that place. I can buy two duplexes.
You brought up an interesting thought because now my wheels are spinning. So when we talk about portfolio reviews, I love that. And
Hmm.
I was really bummed I missed Vegas because this is some of the things I wanted to be talking with you about over coffee. When you look at your portfolio in totality, that's why I like Cody and Christian, they talk about what pieces do you have. So when you
Hmm.
look at your portfolio, are you on a more offensive stance or are you on a more defensive stance? Because when I was going through the eviction and I was having a hard time getting things stabilized, I was in the more defensive position. So I was afraid to do things like having rent renewals and trying to increase on those, or even thinking about purchasing another. But when things stabilize and you're more on the defensive or you've had past experiences, you can take that into account. And that's why you can switch things up, look at the turnkey single family and say, why don't I add this in my market to improve it in totality?
I think I'm probably in the middle, because like I could say I'm offensive in like these projects and stuff, but I'm not necessarily offensive and trying to find another rental property at the moment, although I am looking. But I'm defensive in the sense that I'm trying to do the stuff that actually is going to either better the property and overall or add value to it. Like for example, I'll give you a prime example. At the one rental property, not the foundation, but there's a you so the tenants can go out the side and they go up a flight of stairs outside, and there's a giant concrete pad then leads up into the porch and the whole backyard. That concrete is all cracked and the water's running through it and then coming through the sandstone foundation, causing trouble. So one of my objectives for this year is I want to get that all busted up, that concrete, have it angled away, have that whole area cleaned up, have the concrete angled away, and then have it drain off to the side and hook up into and have it hook up into something. I haven't figured that part out yet, but have it run out to the side and then connect into the downspout of the rain, because then it goes into I don't know where it goes, but I think it just I think it just goes into the neighbors' pine trees, or like they have some trees that collect that are great for water, but because that's where he has his go to, and I'm probably just going to do that, honestly. But that's an example of something that needs to be done. An example of a value add project is a double duplex, me trying to get the roof and that last unit finished.
The path to stabilization. When will that happen? I have that question in my mind all the time.
I the ultimate, like the complete done stabilization, I don't think I will have done until I'm already into financial freedom because I'm always going to keep tweaking, I'm always going to keep twerking, and I'm always going to keep trying to make things a little bit better. But I need to be out of the W-2 arena to actually go in and overhaul it. And by the time I'm at that point, it's going to be very small things. I can easily just go through and hit them all within a year if I can. But for the most part, it's just going to be a bunch of little stuff. But I want to have the big, heavy stuff like all the roofs, all the hot water tanks, all the furnaces, everything updated before that point because I don't want to have it, coming back around.
And that's one of my weaknesses is I'm not too good with construction experience or rehab experience or knowing a lot of the basics for housing that you have good experience with. So when I get out there, that's something I'd want to learn from you. And if we're driving around, you could point things out for me, say, hey, did you notice this or notice that? That'd be helpful for me. Or just going through one of your properties saying, this is how I did to redo things, or I added this grading and this helped a lot just for the stability of it.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, we could do that. So, what's your next pro of Pittsburgh?
Are we on pros or cons?
We're still doing pros.
Pros? I'm on the, I was thinking about cons, sorry. Do you have more pros? Then maybe I could hop
I,
off of that.
I do have more pros. So we'll do two more and then we'll switch to the con video. The
Okay.
cons.
Oh
So
no.
anyway, so we've talked about this before in other videos, but Pittsburgh, the great steel city of Pittsburgh, has more top universities in it than any other city. And I'm going to just spat some off the top of my head. Okay. So we have Pitt, we have, what is it, Point Park, we have Duquesne, we have Chatham, we have Point Breeze. There's I would include Penn State, but they're not going to be here much longer. They're closing down the branches, so I'm not including Penn State in this. We have Cal U, Slippery Rock, Clarion, IUP, trying to think what's the big one that does the tech stuff that
UPMC?
competes with. No, that's a medical thing.
Oh,
There's another college that competes with MIT when it comes to technology, but there's that one, and and this is just off the top of my head. I purposely did not take notes on this because I'd be like, I want to see how many I can name on camera live. So that's nine right there because I was counting, and I know that I'm missing a bunch.
that's impressive.
Yeah,
And this point gave me a thought. I just want to say the people of Pittsburgh, everyone I have talked to have been
it's a
awesome.
jagoff.
It's just I don't know. I don't know if it's just been lucky for me, but meeting you, talking with realtors, talking with lenders, insurance agents, just the people in Pittsburgh that I reached out to, that network, like Steven as well, who's moved there, and I'm sure he has experienced something similar where it's the people, the environment. I thoroughly have enjoyed just communicating with the people of Pittsburgh and learning more about the culture and the environment and all the different economic drivers. that's been a big eye-opening thing for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people in Pittsburgh. It's just sometimes they can be a little bit depending and I area dependent and like era specific. They can be a little bit brash. And the best way I can describe it is kind of like that Bronx attitude, but with a Pittsburgh style, if that makes sense. So the best way to the best way to figure out who they are is if they say something along the lines of you ask them who their favorite coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers was, and if they say something along the lines of, "Well, I like Tomlin, but yeah, there's just something about that Coach Cowher, yeah, go Steelers, yeah." It sounds like they smoke about 3 packs of cigarettes a day and drink Anheuser-Busch. If they come across like that, you're talking to a very nice person. It's going to come off very, very brash.
And you better come correct, because if you don't come correct, they will check you. And just be respectful, just do your job. Just make sure if you're working with someone, you do all the legwork up front. So you show them, hey, I'm trying to do the best on my end. Can you work with me? And I can see your best. I know there's that level of respect. I read this post where they were comparing a Philadelphia sporting arena. No slight on Philadelphia, but this is what I read compared to a Pittsburgh arena. And they said when they went into a Pittsburgh arena, just the vibe, just the crowd was way more jovial, and the Philadelphia arena was more harsh and aggressive.
Yeah, yeah, I like to talk sometimes to people if I'm lucky enough when I go to Penn's games. Like I kind of always look forward to sitting to someone rooting for the other team because I'll be like, and sometimes I'm not fortunate enough where it's like two people, like a husband and a wife, that like the other team. If it's Philadelphia, I won't talk to them. I will not talk to them because I don't like talking to people from Philadelphia too much. They're just too obnoxious for me. I'm not saying all of them are. I'm just saying enough of them are. And my aunt and uncle that lived out there were, and then went up to New York to make it even better. But so but like any other team I've talked to, I'd be like, hey, what do you think about coming here? Do you like it here? Do you blah blah blah? And I picked their ear like in the intermissions or between plays and stuff. And I've heard that from many people. They're like, oh yeah, Pittsburgh's very nice and very respectful. I'm never like I'm not ever in fear of getting beat up wearing the opposing jersey or anything like that. They said you go to the wrong city and do that, they're like they'll beat you up.
And that reinforces that post that I was reading. It was it was someone from the opposing team. And when they went
Yeah.
into the Pittsburgh arena, they were welcoming. They're asking, "Hey, how do you like it here? What places have you been? Have you been to this restaurant? Have you been to this arena or this museum?"
Yeah, Pittsburgh has a number of museums that are really cool. There's museums I haven't even been to yet, but I know which is one I'm going to take you to. I'm excited. It's one of my favorites. I'm always looking for an excuse to go back, so I'm definitely taking you to it.
Yes.
And there's two others. One I haven't been to since a kid, and the other's been a few years. So I'm excited to take you to those ones too. And we're going to do all three in one day because they're pretty close to each other.
And that's another good point, because I was reading a news article where the conservatories of the parks is like
Mhm.
they were saying they should promote that more. They should let that be known to attract more tourists and more vendors.
Well, I think we've hit the pros. Now it's time for some cons.